Can you hang
It's
up?
N.
Can you hang up?
I just Can you turn off notifications?
You are ruining a podcast. Goodbye.
Wait, why are you doing it on Saturday? I said Sundays only.
And we're live. Welcome back to the Unhappy Hour, guys. Got a very special guest today. My good friend Evan. He's looks like he's the first guest to come in from the wrong side there. Jesus. How long have you been in there for, bro?
It's polite not to ask.
Jesus Christ, bro. Yeah. Just have you moved in or something? It's,
And we're off.
and we are off indeed. Jesus Christ.
Do the intros not usually go like this?
No. No, you've thrown me off a little bit, but it's okay. You know, these things happen.
Yeah, expect it, baby.
Yeah,
We thought this was going to be a normal episode?
bro. The guest's going from this side, and when you don't follow the scheme, it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me nervous. And my 50 viewers, as you pointed out, are all expecting one hell of a show. But anyways, cocktail of the day today is the Manhattan. So usually we start these things off with a little cheers. Fuck, it does this thing sometimes. Yeah, it was a much classier way to do it. Cheers, man.
I've already drank half of mine because I was quite nervous about giving the 40 people from Norway what they want.
Yeah, it's actually quite interesting. My viewership is 40% American, which is surprising. So that's why I've actually opted to use American spelling in all of my in all my titles and shit. Yeah, kind of random, but gotta appease the audience, you know. I guess.
That's how it starts, man. Like the British Empire gives away half its shit, and then 150 years later, you have people like you using the American spelling.
Yeah. The British Empire probably did need to give some shit away.
Yeah,
they were taking a lot at the time. just speaking strictly of my own ancestors, like my grandma was born in India, and I used to try and claim I was Indian, but obviously not. as part of the British settlers, so pretty weak claim. But that's how cultured I am.
No, that's funny, actually. Me and Adam were talking before about how if I do say anything really stupid, we can just cut it out. I'm like, nah, I won't say anything stupid, and then I say something stupid in the first minute.
The British Empire is being marginalized. Yeah, no, but we won't cut that. Yeah, and we don't cut anything on this show. It's 100% organic.
That would be a good place to cut to a complete non sequitur about something completely different. We'll definitely do that. Yeah,
I do that shit all the time.
Yeah,
like half of my clips are just me going to tree and cut that shit. Just cut that up. Yeah, there was some bad ones, especially like I was talking about my clothing brand and Dream was not happy. They started bringing up the sales, but I actually like full disclosure, like it is actually doing okay. So it's more of a serious one. Yeah, we're actually starting to make some traction. I think hopefully this is helping, but maybe not. If you look at my views, I guess like the brand's just organically getting out there. But it's cool to see, man. Like yeah, they had like 4 sales last week or something, which is pretty good. Dude, yeah, I know.
You didn't tell me?
Yeah, I know, bro. I know.
Celebrations are in order.
I added you to the group chat. Yeah, bro, it's like it's crazy because like obviously in the beginning I wasn't really making that. I think everyone when they first start out doesn't really like jump onto the scene and make an impact. But yeah, it's been going good, so that's cool. What have you been up to?
Man, I've been right just and then, if you must know, in the bathroom. I was.
Please tell me you weren't wanking.
Look, my wanking days in that bathroom. They're behind me, and I can look you in the eye as a man and tell you that.
As of now,
as of the clarity that I've recently achieved in the last 2 minutes, the way forward is clear. Yeah,
fantastic.
No more.
I'm glad to hear that. No, but it did sound like you had something maybe more serious to say. No.
Oh no, I mean I just my my girlfriend is having a bit of a tough time right now, and she was asking me if I could please come home, and so it did hurt to say 52 people on the internet need me. They're depending on me. This is bigger than just you and me, all right? Frankly,
This is a
you're
big
being
deal.
selfish.
This, as you were saying before, this is my internet debut.
This is my internet
This
debut.
is Ev's first, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, that is crazy, bro. That this is like the first, because I feel like you've always been like, I don't know, pretty out there, like socially and stuff. I'm surprised like you haven't done another podcast or even like put your own videos out. Like I feel like you would have done like some comedy stuff maybe. Or...
Yeah, I feel like I've done stuff on other people's TikToks.
Oh yeah, that's good shit.
But yeah, no, not really anything of my own. Just because, like I was saying before, like clearing that initial hurdle of being like, when I put this out here, it's possible that I will be denied entry to China in 30 years. Like once it's out there, I don't know where it's going. The U.S. congressmen don't know where it's going. Have you seen those U.S. congressmen on the tech hearings? Oh my god, so funny.
Oh,
yeah.
that is actually fucking hilarious. I love Mr. Joe. They call him like it's like a subgroup on TikTok. They call him Data Daddy. They're like basically all like simping for him and stuff. It's quite amusing. But yeah, listening to some of the fucking things that those guys were saying is like genuinely like, how are they elected officials?
Yeah.
Like there is something seriously fucked about the American political system. And I have no right to have an opinion on that. But
no, just hearing the people that are like are elected representatives to give the opaque world of big tech a real grilling to really get to the bottom of it, being like, so when I turn my Wi-Fi on, is that a TikTok? Sir, so why will Facebook continue to post my location? I emailed it to please stop.
Did you see the one? I think this one is a meme, but it was like they basically one of the congressmen, like a mock of one of the congressmen being like, why is the TikTok all over my pages just the gays and transsexuals dancing? It's like all of it's like the meme's like, it's a For You page, bro.
I'd like it to be a little bit more like a 4chan page. My son just told me what that is. Told him about the word incel.
Bro, there's honestly so many good fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love.
I don't want to say about anything about incels because my data team tells me that that's most of the people who vote for me. So
that is my that is probably scarily how they are getting elected. It's like I don't even know if there are incels in that age bracket. I suppose there would be.
I think there are old incels.
There's some active 80-year-olds.
There's some involuntarily unsexually active 80-year-olds.
I actually read some stats recently that like the age of cheating for men is like crazy high in the 80s. Like,
wow.
Yeah, it's like it's disproportionate. Like they tracked like infidelity in marriages, and yeah, like it like spikes at 80. Like, I was like, what the fuck? I mean, it kind of makes sense to an extent, but then like also I'm like, surely you got, I don't know, too much of a connect. Maybe you're just too close to death. You just don't give a fuck anymore. I guess that's the only reasonable explanation. But like, yeah, I was just like picturing like this old guy with grandkids just like sleazing around with some prostitute or something, or like other people at the retirement village. Even funnier. Can you imagine that?
Oh, but imagine being like, Granddad, why have you taken such an interest in my youth soccer games?
Jesus. I think it's like way more funny that he's like cheating with someone in his bridge club.
Yeah.
Margaret never puts out anymore. Maggie never puts out.
I mean, she puts out her dentures at the end of the night. But did you see that story about it was like a 98-year-old and a 96-year-old couple, man and a woman.
Yeah.
And right as she was about to die, she told him about cheating on him like 50 years previously, you know, in her prime time.
Right. Wow, that's
and he divorced her on her deathbed. He divorced her at the age of 98. Which has to be one of the all-around saddest things I've ever heard in my life on so many levels.
That's pretty savage. I mean, to be fair though, at that point, I don't know. So I guess she only told him because she had like this guilt before dying, right? Is that what we're saying?
She's like, I had to get one thing off my chest, and
he was like, good.
I know you'll still love me, right? And
nah,
divorce. We've built this bond together.
That's
we've spent
fucking
our
wild.
life together. We've shared a life with each other, and
Jesus.
right before we die.
It's like Bernie's got standards.
Yeah, Bernie
like-
ain't no cop.
Literally. Like, I don't know what he's trying to prove. I guess it is like it's
But
more
it-
than the action, right? Like, it's like the fact that she lied to him for 50 years.
Yeah,
so,
I
like,
mean,
that would be quite soul
but
destroying.
she didn't. She just didn't mention it. That's not the same as lying. I
Yeah,
don't think.
sure, I guess, but like for different people, I don't know. I would be like pretty like, if my partner cheated on me, I guess I probably wouldn't want to know. If I truly loved them, like I wouldn't want to know if it was like a one-time thing. Assuming, of course, like if it was like if she's regularly cheating or whatever, then like that's a different story. But let's say like it's a one-time thing that she regrets a lot, then I feel like you're only really doing yourself, like by telling your partner, if it's assuming it is just the one-time thing, that you're really only doing it to alleviate your own guilt, right? I guess like that's how I would see it. So like when she told him on her deathbed, it's like more for her than for him. Like she's like, I feel like so bad about this, and really, if she loved him enough, she shouldn't have told him. She should have just taken that shit to the graves, because like it does kind of taint the last 50 years of their marriage. Like, and it's probably hard for him to.
Yeah, I mean, surely if she'd known him for that long, she would have known what a crazy man.
What kind of reaction?
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know if that is that crazy.
Actually-
though. Like, imagine that like every fucking like.
By the way, this
significant
entire
event-
thing we're talking about, I like saw it on social media. Could have just been a fucking Onion article. Honestly, we could just be debating the ethics of an Onion article right now.
But also that who cares about that? Like whether it's real or not, it's an interesting like hypothetical.
But it is. I think it is just an indictment of how
What would
many
you do?
people stay with their partners, but just because it's always been that way. Like so many people just like hate their like husbands and wives and
Yeah.
long-term partners.
I
And
agree.
It's kind of sad. I'm like, divorce rates aren't high enough. Honestly, like
Raise them up.
the number like retirement homes are specifically built for this.
I would say the opposite is true. I would
It's like
say the
university halls for old people.
I would say marriage rates are too high. That would be my
Yeah,
like,
that's
counter.
true.
I
Yeah.
would say like like.
But also, like, the idea that, like, a divorce is a failure is, like even
It's
when I
dangerous,
said
yeah.
it now, it's so ingrained and taken for granted. But, like, if you
Yeah.
have, like, a really constructive, like, 25-year relationship where you both grow a lot and give
yeah.
a lot to each other, and then some point down the track, it's not good for either of you, and then you divorce. Like, I don't see anything.
Yeah, like if you have like a really
I
like
don't see
solid,
any great failure about that. you
yeah,
know?
solid 25 years, and then find
It's
out
a
she
bit like
cheated.
an amicable divorce is
Underrated.
criminally.
I learned heaps from that shit. Don't teach that in school. Just like fuck. I don't know, bro. Yeah, I agree. I agree that like all
Yeah.
experience in your life, but I feel like
Yeah.
if you don't look at it,
But
like
you're not
that,
going to get taught that in school. You're not going to
Yeah.
get the really pro-divorce, divorced,
I think it's-
washed up
it's-
midlife crisis gym teacher that's
It's
just
what-
peddling his pro-divorce views on the youngins.
Also, just hard to take from that guy.
Yeah.
I love this shit. Being single is amazing. It's like, I don't know, bro. Not the way you're making it look. but
I bought
I
a
think,
Nissan Skyline the other day. I modded it.
I think it's less about encouraging higher divorce rates. I think like there's a place for it. Obviously it existing is a good thing in the long run. But I think that like the bigger thing about it is like you shouldn't go through anything in your life and solely see the negatives. Like I feel like every negative has a positive, and like if you're in that situation where you are having to get divorced, then like seeing it as like a positive learning experience is great. But obviously like you shouldn't strive to have a divorce. You're
Yeah.
like, after 20 years I'm gonna be done with you. Like that's just
Yeah.
that's a bad way to bad outlook on
That's true. It sounds so like trite, but the mindset of like when bad shit happens to you, how is this the best thing that's ever happened to me? It sounds like such bullshit, but is honestly so helpful.
Yeah, it takes a long time to
Like-
get there sometimes as well. for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, if you just fuck up horribly and there's like really just there's no silver linings to what you've done and you're like, "You know what? I won't do it again." I really wish that I didn't have to learn that one through trial and error, but I won't do it when the stakes are higher.
Speaking of, we have a little segment we like to do on this show, Ev, called Depressing Questions.
Wow.
Depressing questions.
Yeah, sick segue.
Yeah. It's a terrible segue, but I did want to ask you about potentially...
It was good.
a potentially thing that maybe you should regret if you do not regret. And that is, you own an e-scooter. Just wanted to...
Past tense.
Past tense.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
What? Okay. Can we talk about the...
Well, the e-scooter, it actually
By choice?
it lives in my parents' garage in my mom's basement, and sometimes when I go home, it whispers to me like the Green Goblin mask in Spider-Man 2.
And then you put on your green leotard and go scootering again.
Think of the emissions. And I go, I've got a Toyota Aqua, okay, I'm doing my best.
I mean, that is pretty amicable, I think, or it's admirable.
Admirable. Yeah. Well, we did have an amicable divorce with my scooter.
with
actually,
the e-scooter. I do love that you're environmentally friendly. I mean, I feel like my audience will love that too because we have had a history.
Well, yeah, Americans famously environmentally friendly.
Yeah.
But honestly, I loved an e-scooter. I would recommend it to anyone with middle distance journeys. Official e-scooter plug time.
It's like the guy that gets an air fryer. Like the only thing he talks about is how amazing the air fryer.
No, I'm like the opposite. I'm like
You don't push the e-scooter.
I'm like the
agenda.
vegan that tries as hard as not to talk about being vegan.
Yeah, I see
Because
that.
of
I see that.
I'm like the Rick and Morty fan that tries as hard as not to talk about being.
Were you trying that hard though? You had a man bun for a period.
I'll put that shit up right now.
That's like the don't ask me, but ask me. Am I a vegan?
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I'm just talking shit. Obviously, like
To all our American viewers, I am a hybrid owning, former e-scooter wearing, liberal voting man bun haver. So feel free to.
who also worked in the service industry.
Yeah. Although not as long as you.
Yeah, I did. I worked in there for
Yeah.
a long time. I actually kind of like.
I'm gonna get back to my e-scooter plug later,
Yeah.
but talk about your 2 years of bartending.
What do you want to know?
I mean, how do you think? Because everything you do for 2 years, and you did it at quite a high level. Like I remember you bought the books and really.
I still have that. The book. I actually didn't buy it. It was a gift.
It was a gift, but I remember you bought some. I remember waking up in your flat with there'd be one book on the bedside table, and it was like 101 perfect cocktails.
Or some bullshit like that. Yeah. No, I understand. Yeah, and this was like when I was like.
And then we'd go get KFC and drink warm beer. Yeah.
Yeah. I've significantly upped my home cocktail game. Oh, just a note, I think you actually are probably the first guest to finish the cocktail before me. So that is... I don't know if we high five. There's some sort of celebration thing we'll do for that. This is an unhappy hour first.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would say like my life has changed in very small ways. It's sort of flipped. So I used to make nice drinks for other people and drink like shit at home, and now I'm like generally pretty bougie when I drink at home, but then I don't make shit for other people. So it's great. I like it. It's a good flip.
Yeah. And you have that skill for life. But I mean, in terms of, because I worked hospital for a long time, and having just quit it recently, I feel like I've moved on surprisingly fast. Like, I would have thought it would have, like, really lived in my body in terms of some sort of trauma. But, like, I'll be in the kitchen just taking my sweet time.
You don't think you'll ever...
Just
okay,
not even... And I'm like, I could have used some of this, like, bodily stored trauma to, like, hurry up and chop this onion. But I just... It's not there. Do you have that from bartending?
I think there's, like, different types of, like, hospital stuff. Like, because I think that, like... I don't know how much of the culture from hospital you got from doing like the food side.
Yeah.
Like not to say that like the shifts don't get it as much. But like I think what I miss is not so much the job, but more like the lifestyle, I guess, for lack of a better term. Like I loved that shit. You knew me at that time. Like I was
Yeah.
like fucking. That was my shit.
So
know?
you actually did love that.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course I do. Like, you don't do something consistently for 2 years without fucking loving it. Like, but there was like parts of it that just wore down at my mental health so much that like it was not like sustainable. But
Yeah, I mean, but also just like wore down at your physical reserves to even like.
Oh yeah, I was
You can't like drink hard 6 days a week and.
6 days. Bro, bartending is
8
the only
days.
job where you can drink while working, and I fucking love that shit, man. Like,
Yeah.
like, well, I mean, this is probably, I don't know if this is gonna make it because I have a professional job now, so it can't be too open. But like, I did like, I used to drink during my shifts pretty much like the whole day. Like, it would be like not like excessively, but I was like maintaining a buzz.
Oh my god.
Dealing with customers at like when you're hungover is shit as fuck. So
Bartender tipsy at work?
controversial takes.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
I've
bro.
been lied to.
But that's like, but you know what I mean? Like that's like the. Oh shit! All right, quick cut.
Jamie, cut that out.
Who was it? Can you hang
It's
up?
end.
Can you hang up?
I just clicked out of it. Can you turn off notifications?
You are ruining a podcast. Goodbye.
Wait, why are you doing it on Saturday? I said some days only.
Bro, you're
Ente! Yo, we got the good episodes in, my boy.
mid podcast. I don't know if this is gonna make it or not. All right, I gotta go. Goodbye.
Okay, see you, champ.
Be a good.
Katrina, I didn't realize that you just have to fucking listen to like just hours of mostly shit chat. Do you like? Are you really in it for the like 1% chance that this? Well, look, I'll be honest.
The 1%.
7% chance that this takes off, and you.
7%. Bro,
That's-
bro,
I reckon
that's
that's
what
a-
we're cutting back in. Ericus has got a 7% chance of being successful. Motherfucker,
Yeah.
I'm not doing this for a 7% chance of success. I think it's consistency. That's the thing that people
Yeah,
don't have.
2 people. Sound off in the comments.
I'm only passionate about this, you know? I reckon that I only have to post a fucking shit episode every week for the next 2 years for this to be, like, good. Thanks for that, Ant. I really appreciate you interrupting the the entire show. I can't even really remember what we were talking about, but you may note that we have some new drinks, and as a classic white person would say, these are dangerous. These are dangerous. The hard cheekies, which is, as Evan pointed out when we were buying them, basically just the soft cheekies, but rebranded and an extra 0.5%. So, we'll give them that. That's smart. I think we were talking like sort of about bartending stuff. I think we were right. I'm trying to think where we got back in. I think it was like, you were talking about like we were talking about lifestyle a little bit, and then like how it's maybe impacted. Is that sort of where you're going?
Yeah, I think I was asking you about what your even just main takeaways from your sort of 2 years of degeneracy.
Yeah. Okay. Main
were.
takeaways is, it's not sustainable if you're broke, so you need money to do it well.
Yeah.
So that's like probably the main thing that I think that people fuck up when they're trying to be degenerate for life is like they don't they neglect their savings goals and then try and just have all the fun. But like on a more serious note, I guess like yeah, like it's really great, and like that. Everyone, if they did it for that sort of amount of time, would have to love it. But like, I don't think that it's good for you. I guess, obviously.
That's just a scaldingly hot take. Are you willing to have that on the internet?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like controversial,
Degeneracy, not that good for you.
right? Yeah, and I mean, like, yeah, I've obviously
Yeah.
taken steps to move past it. I didn't create a show centered around a bar that's fictional just for no reason, you know? Cheers, Eb. But no.
But in all seriousness, you really have. Low-key inspiring.
Well,
You
like the
know,
flip,
to
you mean?
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
the flip from the 2 years of degeneracy to almost 2 years of complete and utter sobriety.
Yeah, that was pretty tough.
Yeah, I'd say
Not gonna lie.
arguably, as someone who's been your friend this whole time, that was worse.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I've kind of found this kind of as an interesting takeaway is that, like, there's some people that are just really shit when they're drunk and high. Like, they're just, like, not good people to be around.
Yeah.
And then there's just good cunts. I feel like I was more into, I was, like, I'm definitely a good cunt when I drink, but, like, sometimes when I mix it, I get a little bit, like, quiet or whatever. But, like, there was that period where I was completely sober and I was like, I'm just not, like... I don't feel like me when I'm socializing and shit. Like I'm, like, and like that's fine. Like I don't have to be on all the time. But
it was almost because it was like a all-encompassing numbing, like a great denying.
Yeah,
and and your whole life felt like a performance art in negating desires.
Yeah, it definitely does become like that. I feel like actually that's another good takeaway is that like it starts off and you're just like always having a good time, and then eventually you get to a point where you're like trying to maintain your lifestyle and then like sort of projecting what you used to be because that's what everyone that knows you expects, and then you get to a point where you're like, oh, okay, well like that's not sustainable. So then you like, if you're like me, you cut it all off and then just like live how you actually feel for a little bit, which is tough on the people around you. And then you sort of bounce back and then you like slowly dabble, and then it's just like I feel it just runs in cycles, Yeah. But like I think you got to take your learnings from like your early days and then iterate is the key.
Yeah, man.
It's all data. It's all data, bro. At the end of the day. So don't get fucked up every day, but getting fucked up on the weekends is okay.
Yeah, but that's a crazy conclusion to the abstinence culture that we've got. Even the like 12-step programs that are so heavily influenced by like a religious-based puritanical purity shit. You have sinned and therefore you're impure. Like there's all that messaging in it, and then to see you like a. Would you self-identify as like an addict or a former addict?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely, like, I would call myself an alcoholic, and I don't feel like that's, like, a term probably thrown around lightly for people my age as well. And I want to, like...
Yeah.
I
no,
don't
I
say that
cannot.
lightly.
Adam is not like...
You know?
Few cheekies with the girls. Adam was not like, oh my god, I had such a big night last night and now I'm back on it. I'm such an alcoholic. Adam was like, I will vomit on a Tuesday for no reason.
I shouldn't laugh that much at that because it is sad as well as true.
And then on said Tuesday, I will go back to drinking.
The amount of tackies I was doing was not healthy at some points. And I think, but I also have had a life cycle where it's not maybe like a traditional addict's life cycle where you kind of reach that point where you're like either have to be fully sober here because I tried that shit and I'm not gonna lie, that sucks.
Oh no, and it's
so
taking
much.
every bone in my body not to say I told you so right now because I got it out of my system in those 2 years.
Yeah,
but honestly, a part of me didn't even believe in what I was saying because of the whole. I feel like the binary that we have in society between if you're an addict, you're either sober or you're back on it, and then watching your journey of like. Actually just finding a medium that
works,
because there's actually there's nothing intrinsically wrong with being addicted to something, which is something that no one ever says.
I think as well it's also worth noting that like I think people get addicted for different reasons. So like I think that for me it was not necessarily like, oh, I need alcohol. I just had like a huge void in my life that I was trying to fill with shit, and like however that happiness came, I would take that shit. So like I feel like if you do the work to fix that, then having a drink on the weekend is not a big deal. But if you don't fix the underlying issues, like I did a lot of therapy and shit. Like I've been through like a lot of different means of trying to help myself first, and I feel like I don't regret necessarily being sober because like that realization was important as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's about like a lot of depression is about not getting your needs met, whatever those might be.
Yeah, for sure. Took a dark turn. Welcome to the unhappy hour.
Yeah. Well, you've kind of tainted your brand a bit. Welcome to the
Well, I mean my brand is me, really, if we're being honest. So like I'm happy to fucking be open about it. And like
the brand.
I don't want to regret shit. Like I feel like I if I'm not true about what I actually feel and I'm kind of being disingenuous, and fuck that, Put your true stuff out there. People don't like it, then fuck them, Who gives a shit?
If people don't like a reclaimed, born again,
alcoholic.
just drinks on the weekends guy, then
Yeah,
I'm
I'll let you
afraid
know.
we
I'll let you
don't
know.
care for them.
You'll see. Like you'll be able to like I don't know. Evan was only recently exposed to my vlogs, but like you'll see if I as soon as I stop running during the week, then feel free to hit me up and be like, you're fucking falling off the wagon. But you know, like it's I'm living like that. Like
Is that the shit that actually like makes you feel good?
it doesn't make me feel good at all. No, I hate like I like after, but like there is nothing that feels good about running.
That's fascinating. One of my big problems is that I'm too like comfort seeking, you know.
Mm.
But you must be like the opposite to be able to drag yourself out of bed at 5 o'clock for something that doesn't even feel good. Why do you do it?
Because I know the consequence of not doing that.
And what's that?
Well, like for me, like and this is like my little tips and tricks to all the addicts out there, is that if you instead of if you make your addiction counterintuitive to what your goals are, then it's really easy to like not fall into a trap. So like if you keep giving yourself outs, then it's super easy, right? Like so like for me, like I'm trying to do a marathon in October. So if I don't run a lot, I'm not going to be able to do that marathon. Therefore, if I don't wake up, I mean, and the whole like waking up early and shit, it's like all part of just like having a disciplined routine. But like it's like I'm trying to train 2 times a day during the week, because if I don't do that and I lose like one of those days, then I'm going to fall short of my goal, right? And an extension of that is so I've been doing that for a little while now, and I think that the results of that mean that I can drink on the weekends and not feel guilty about it as well, which is like a big plus. And also I'm not now drinking during the week, which is a great win as well. But I'm also not unhappy. Like I'm unhappy in the moment, but not retrospectively. And accountability is another big thing. So the vlogs are multifaceted, right? So like there's like the component of trying to create content regularly, but then there's also the component of if I say I'm going to do something and then I like film that action and post it, then if I'm not accountable for whatever reason, then someone could call me out on it, you know? And it's like knowing that in the back of your mind, even though fucking no one's watching, is like
So
powerful.
what I'm hearing
Yeah.
is instead of the abstinence culture of beating substance addiction, do we just need to get everyone into vlogging to the 80 people that view it as a way to hold themselves accountable?
Yeah, I think like I think it just like
I said that as a joke, but like
no, people don't need to be vlogging, but like just like having like a multi having different idols. Like I feel like there's like, you know, you might want to live like the I don't know, party lifestyle, but then you should also have like health inspirations as well. So like just balance it out, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. So how, in terms of one of the other things of addiction is like once you start, you can't stop. But how have you found that on the weekends? Because you actually seem to be all goods these days. Like you'll have like a moderately big night, but it never like goes too far, really.
Yeah, I'm kind of like I am definitely the kind of person like one drink means I'm writing that night off generally. Like, there's like a threshold of like, and I think that threshold is moved as well. So like, and I kind of think I would say it's kind of true for most people as well. Like once you get drunk, like there's very few people that are like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go home for the night, you know? Like the people have like a couple drinks and they're like, okay, like I'm still logical enough that I'm gonna go home. Like that marker is just way higher for me. So like I can have like 5 drinks and I'll be like, okay, like if I have another one, then I'm writing off the rest of tomorrow. Like the amount of drinks I have to have before tomorrow is a write-off is a lot higher now. So that I guess contributes to it. But if I'm being quite honest with you, like every drink I have, my thought process is still goes back to like that, I guess, dated mindset of it's like, when's the next one? You know, it's just like, had one, when's the next one? When's the next one? Like I have to be quite engaged in what I'm doing. So like the podcast helps with that, because like I'm talking to you, I'm having like a conversation with you. It's less easy for me to be like focused on the drink. Like if it was like a conversation with no cameras and no pressure, then, which I guess it is kind of no pressure, but like if there was no added layers to it, I could artificially talk to you and then still be counting the drinks in my head, which is something that I would do if I was at like a party or something like that. But in this particular environment, I can have like a casual drink and it's not the priority of my mind, which is refreshing. So like
definitely.
And this sort of
rather
setting,
than being like contextualized as I'm running up the dopamine ladder and every step up is codified as me just like ascending.
Exactly.
Because I'm almost like addicted to viewing it like this.
Yeah, 100%.
Once every substance, once it gets to that point, I've found that it's not as much fun anymore.
Yeah, and also when you're layering stuff as well, like that just adds some more complexity. I'm sure you know, like, but it is the same concept, right? Like eventually, no matter what you're doing, it does reach that point, and like, yeah, people don't really talk about that, I guess, like in such transparent terms. Yeah, that is an interesting realization. I guess like that is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. The dopamine ladder. That's a good analogy. I feel like you should market that shit.
Someone should be recording this.
Someone should be. You getting this? But yeah, no, it is interesting, man. It is interesting, man. I think like.
But the other thing is,
how often do you have these conversations with people as well?
Not too often. Not too often. The other thing I was gonna say is on the other side of that, like. I don't know if it's a part of me that, like, romanticizes the time where I'd, like, wake up on your couch after a big night and just be like, let's go fucking smoke some weed and get some KFC. This is the best shit ever. I love my life.
Yeah.
Or if I'm, like, because I had, you know, maybe in the culture kind of almost, like, fetishizes that.
Yeah, it does,
you know, the, like, you know, the hangover.
What kind of scares me about the culture is it kind of fetishizes both sides of the extremes. But
it does.
But what we're talking about right now, where it's like I'm an intense runner during the week and then I get fucked up on the weekend. Like
well, just like I have a normal life during the week, and then I am using these drugs to consciously improve my life and give me access to experiences that I wouldn't otherwise be able to have. Yeah, you're right. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's like
that's kind of the goal, really. I think,
yeah, 100%, man, 100%. I feel like that, but you're right. What's interesting to people is not moderation. It's extremes, right? And like that's why you see extremes being projected to you. I suppose.
And I don't know if the reason why I like thought that was cool at the time. And it might have just been because I was fucking 19. You know,
it might have just been because I was high.
It might have been because I had like internalized the romanticization of that life. Or it might have been because it genuinely was me. Because I do look back on it being like, that was fun.
Yeah, no,
that
for
was
sure.
sick, you know? And lots of other people now that I know that kind of have like jobs also look back on their phase. I'm like, yeah, well, those were the days.
Well, I think it's comparison, right? Like, I don't know, like, I don't feel like you can
a function of not having responsibilities.
Sure, there's like a lot of factors like in that early stage where it allows you to be free as fuck and like also experiment as much as you want. But like, I don't think that it's like crazy to be like, oh my god, my office job isn't as exciting as dropping 2 tabs on the weekend. Like, you know, like it's just like that's obvious when you say it out loud, but also like kind of sad that that's like the way life goes. But I think getting more responsibility is the only way you can have long-term fulfillment. Which is sounds super deep, but yeah, it's true.
Responsibility to what?
Just in general, like if you give yourself something to be responsible for, like for me right now, it's like I'm working towards growing this business and like I guess being more authentic to myself in like my online presence and shit. But like it can mean different things for different people. The important thing is that you just have something. Like, you know, some people have kids, right? And then like that becomes their like responsibility. They take responsibility for yourself. Because if you live without goals and without responsibility for a long enough time, then you just sort of fall into what I was in that 2 years where like it's just everything feels meaningless, I guess. Yeah.
And almost it's all how am I appeasing the brain right now? How am I seeking pleasure in every moment? Yeah.
If you get really analytical, yeah, exactly. It is 100% like that. Like, I don't know. This is
pretty fascinating idea that the secret to happiness, because it's I guess like a subset of like the whole like growth mindset thing. You have to have the growth mindset, but you have to have responsibility for something that you care about. That you're sort of have as an overarching goal.
At least for me, I need a reason to get up in the morning
Yeah.
that's like greater than me. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's greater than give my brain the happy today.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's such a shit cycle to be in, and that's kind of what we're conditioned to, I guess, want. You know, like when you look at like literally like pop culture, it's like either do all these drugs or run to get a runner's high, or like it's just like extremes at all ends of the spectrum. But
Yeah.
kind of neglects the. But maybe it doesn't in some parts. Maybe that's
Yeah.
just like what we're exposed to.
Are
as well.
kids an easy way out to get the dopamine high that you...
Well, that's why I never wear a condom. Because I'm looking for an out.
Jamie, cut that out.
I mean, fuck it, it's true. Like, why not? No, we should cut that out.
Alright, this seems like a good time for a break.
Yeah, there's points to being authentic. And we're live. I think we talked about some pretty heavy stuff before. Good stuff, but heavy stuff. And I just wanted to maybe lighten that note with some more careless talk about drug use. So you were at a festival recently. I understand. Please do enlighten.
Yeah, I went to Earthbeat Festival, which is Earthbeat. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I just feel like they chuck a different acronym at the end of beat every time.
Yeah, that
or
was...
not acronym, but noun or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's incorrect.
Yeah,
terminology.
that was my thing. While I was there, I was really punning on the Earth beat. Let's Earth beat it. And you want to Earth beat these cheeks and so forth.
Do you think it's
But-
inspired at all by like Earth Gang or maybe probably not?
Somehow I
So
don't
wait-
think
wait,
so.
wait.
So Earthbeat is a hippie festival. But I've been to. Now, I don't know how many of the 52 people listening are going to be familiar with the North Island festival setups. But
or
I've
even
been
New Zealand
to-
as a country. But yes,
For the
continue.
3 people, I've been to a lot of the New Zealand festivals.
Yeah.
Your R&Vs, your Northern Bases,
Your Bay Dreams.
your Bay Dreams,
Yep.
even your Splores, and
Really? Okay.
your Ohms.
Your ohms. So
Bit of a
that's
deep
it.
cut.
Some more niche. Yeah, I like that.
And I was under the impression that a music festival, they were essentially all the same. They were
You're talking to someone that's
loud
never been to
music.
a-
Sometimes the music is good, depending on which one you're at.
Mm-hmm.
You listen to music at the drugs festival, and you get sweaty and have a good time. But Earthbeat actually challenged me a bit because it was really like a community. Like I'd say, like the majority of the van lifers or the hippies from the North Island probably attended Earthbeat.
So like a micro Burning Man.
Yeah, I mean, there's an event called Kiwi Burn, which is actually
Interesting.
that, which is the New Zealand version of Burning
What
Man.
is Burn? Okay. No, so
What is Burning Man?
do you want to
Burning Man's insane.
Okay.
Burning Man it's in the desert, like the most inhospitable place to do lots of drugs.
Do we have a desert here for Kiwi Burn or no?
I don't think so. I think maybe it's just in the bush.
Bush Burn.
If anyone in the comments has been to Kiwi Burn, sound
Yeah.
off, because
Yeah.
I don't know where it's at.
No.
I imagine it's in the bush. It seems right. Burning Man is in the desert, so like, and there's like genuinely often like big dust storms.
Really?
Yeah.
Aussie.
Burning Man is huge. There's no money at Burning Man. It's all like barter system and exchange.
What do
and-
you exchange? You bring stuff to exchange, or
Yeah, so you bring things. I think there's obviously some form of like currency, but you basically ride bikes around the desert, and it's huge to
Right.
these like different places, and it's kind of like a exercise in like a commune, or like a.
it's kind of great, bro. I actually kind of want to try this shit, man.
But it's intense. It lasts
Yeah.
a week.
it's a week.
It's a week. It's a full on intense experience. It sounds like it would be great if it wasn't in the middle of the desert. If you weren't like, yeah, dust storms are frequent. Like I don't know about you, but if I'm on a heroic dose of psychedelics trying to find myself, the last thing I want to hear about is a fucking imminent dust storm.
But I think maybe that just like adds to the authenticity of it. You know, like you're just like it's real life. You know, like you can't run away from that shit, Ev. To get
Yeah,
deep.
the only way to have an authentic experience is to have your sinuses clogged with Utah dust. Yeah.
No, but like I feel like it does have to be far away from society for it to work. So maybe
Yeah, but
maybe
I'm
the
like-
dust storm part is not like practical.
Yeah.
But
But so everyone rides around on bikes.
it's
And
super. Why bikes?
because the distances between things are so long.
Oh, okay.
Like this is not like your standard festival. Like this
Right.
is not like you walk back to your campsite. This is like
You could get lost and die. Do people die at Burning Man?
yeah, because there's no lights. I mean, I don't think too many people die at Burning Man. I'm sure
That's
some people do.
reassuring.
Yeah. But honestly, as a little segue, the fact that no one ever dies at like R&V in Northern Base, like one person might die every few years and it's a big thing, is an amazing fucking vote of confidence for the safety of MDMA.
Yeah, the
Is it
planning's a
not?
lot better than the Fire Festival.
Is it
that's
not?
for
You
sure.
have you have 20,000 people abusing this drug and no one ever dies.
Well, I feel like
Isn't that insane?
wasn't the bath salt era like quite a bit worse?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure like one guy died.
Only one.
One. Yeah, my little brother was at R&V that year. Apparently there was like cops riding around on horses and it was a bit of a buzzkill because on all the big screens after the second day there was like a "Have you seen this man?" and it like
Wow.
showed his
With
like
the dead guy.
yeah, well they didn't know he was dead. He was just missing.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah.
What a down buzz afterwards. Like, you're in
Yeah.
your come down phase and you see like the kid that was
No,
on screen
imagine
for 3
you're
days
like
is dead.
on your come up phase, like this is the time of my life. You know, you have that feeling of everything is perfectly in place for me to be here.
Apart from
All
this
of the
kid.
things, and then you just see like, have you seen this man? He might be dead.
Well, yeah, no, but they probably weren't saying he might be dead, and then to find out after you've done with
Yeah.
that peak is just like that's gonna be the worst
Yeah,
experience. Oh yeah, that sucks. That
yeah, and then I guess that will like, you know, I can only speak for my little brother who went, but apparently that was like the R&V where you know everyone knows it as like, yeah, the guy died that year. But the
really-
fact that only
The
one
fact that that is a
person,
thing, right?
the
Yeah,
fact that
yeah,
only
no, you're
one
right.
person dies with,
But how many people like I don't know die at Coachella? Is that a thing? Like do people
I'm
die?
sure like an occasional person dies at Coachella, but how many people get killed by vending machines every year? You know?
These are the stats we should care about.
No, seriously, it's a large number of people
Wait,
get killed.
actually?
Yeah,
Well, it's
more
pro-
than sharks. I mean,
I
that's a famous stat.
There's probably like more vending machines than sharks, though, right? Or no?
Jamie, pull that up. Vending machines versus sharks worldwide.
It's like, but it's like the people that see like there's like less people that die on planes. There's like obviously there's fucking less people driving planes, you know, like
on planes.
or in general, you know, like there's like
You can die on a plane without driving it.
sure, but you understand what I'm saying? Though?
Yeah,
like, there's like
yeah.
less people that are flying than like less people that are driving, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
A lot less. So like it's like kind of a bullshit statistic.
Mm.
So is the sharks versus is less people swimming than fucking going to the I don't know.
That is
the local,
true.
The local
yeah.
arcade. I don't know. Arcade's probably not a good example.
More, you're
More
right. More
go-
people have access to vending machines than sharks.
yeah.
It's potentially misleading.
Yeah.
But back to what I was saying, like the extent to which people abuse their bodies at those festivals, and this is part of the thing. Like a lot of, especially New Zealand festivals, market themselves not the big MDMA ones, but a lot of the more mid-sized ones market themselves as like a wellness festival where there's a lot of workshops in the day, and it's not all about getting as geared as you possibly can that evening. And you know, it's kind of ironic because most of what people are doing at these festivals is like not at all wellness. You might go to like a yoga in the day, but then you're like doing drugs and having 3 hours sleep at night. It's actually like a
Just wild, yeah.
yeah, it's actually like a war of attrition over the 3 days or whatever it is because
Yeah.
it's hard to get enough sleep of these things. You know, you by the end you're just like fighting sleep deprivation, a husk of a human.
Well, that's always been my like interpretation of how those because I personally have never been to a festival, but like that's which is crazy to say.
Yeah, that is
Like,
crazy.
yeah, like because
I think you owe it to yourself to go.
I just feel like I'm just past that now.
No, dude, that's the thing. I've been to Splore and I've been to Earthbeat in the last few weeks, and even Ohm is similar.
Yeah.
Like R&V, yeah, you're probably past that.
Okay,
Like probably
alright,
like
fair.
24, 25 is
Pushing it.
pushing it.
Yeah.
Is where that gets socially acceptable.
That's
But
where it's like
the
yeah. I know.
the other ones, like Earthbeat is a real like family affair. It's one of the few all ages events I've really been at. Like,
That's an
I've
interesting
never
vibe.
been to a festival where the majority, like people in their 20s, are a minority.
So you're saying there's like younger people and a lot.
Well, yeah, there's kids.
There's kids at it. That's
There's
a weird
kids.
vibe.
No,
for a
because
festival,
it's.
isn't it?
But I mean, obviously the kids go to bed at 10. You know, you don't see any. Although I was at Ohm once, and there's this thing called the Tripper tent at Ohm, and there was a 10-year-old in the Tripper tent.
Was he like tripping out?
No.
That's reassuring.
No.
It's like
No.
seen some.
Although
shit.
speaking of 10-year-olds tripping out, Adam, do you still have that that thing that you got at the liquor store today?
The what thing that I got to look at sort of.
The what was it? Whiskey?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Hold on.
Yeah, I had a when Adam picked this out of the liquor
Woodford
store.
Reserve.
I
the
realized
spirit of the
where
day.
I'd seen this, and it was at Earthbeat, the festival I was just at, which is this honestly like amazing community coming together festival. Like, I think what I'm trying to say is that I thought all festivals were the same, but this is really like an expression of a community.
So
Through,
it was not inspired by Earth.
I feel like Earthgang would have fit in for sure.
Right, but yeah.
But that's the thing, like, you know, it actually for such a it's like a zero waste thing.
All right.
You know, like you have to bring your own cup and plate, so you're not generating fuckloads of waste. It's like a pretty much a sober festival. Blew my mind.
So everyone's sober though.
Oh no, people are doing drugs for sure.
Right.
But
okay.
there was one bar there, like a Hallertau bar. I never saw it have a line once. People just aren't really drinking at this event. Like, people are partying for sure. People are partying hard. Like, maybe like more actual like proper dancing to the music.
How did you even find out about this thing?
Just girlfriend knew about it. But yeah,
Ruby,
if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have known about it.
I don't know if she wants to be shouted out. Shout out. Ruby.
Shout outs. And it was probably my favorite one that I've been to, just because of how different it was to the other ones. Like, what I wanted to say about this particular liquor is we made friends with a man that was next to us in the tent called Shane, and on one day, most of the Earthbeat cars are pretty similar to each other. On the third day, we see a brand new gleaming white Audi SUV drive past, and I'm like, fuck, this is not Earthbeat. I've been here 3 days. I'm already judging you. This is you
Come on,
bringing
bro.
down the
This
vibe.
isn't the
Come on.
commune.
Yeah. And then they pull up right next to our tent, which is right by Shane's tent because they knew him. Wind down the window, and it's just a dude with his shirt off and a goatee, and he's holding that exact bottle of liquor and a durry, a cigarette. And he's got a kid in the back that looks about 10, and a woman in the back. And he beckons me over wordlessly with that bottle of liquor. Not with his durry hand, with that bottle of liquor, and I just go over.
With his other hand? Sorry, he
And he
was
just-
driving with both hands.
No, so he's parked,
Right,
and he
right.
just beckons me over. I'm like, who, me? And so I go over. He pours me a shot, just wordlessly, goes, for you? And I'm like, fuck yeah, all right. So I do one, and then I see in the back he's got a 10-year-old, and he's got, you got any trips, G?
The 10-year-old.
The 10-year-old said this to me. Yeah, and so the adult's like, yeah, we're looking for trips. And I'm like, oh, that's like the one thing we didn't bring. Yeah, we didn't bring any. Sorry, man. And then from the back, this woman with no teeth is like, you want to chase her for that? Hands me a warm flame. A warm flame is like a beer.
What the fuck, bro? What kind of...
And I'm
Shut
like,
up, shut up,
this
Pete.
kid is gonna be a fucking cool kid. I reckon.
That's
There's
good.
so many kids at Earthbeat. Like, I reckon a good 20% of the festival was children. It's a real like family thing.
That's so
And I
interesting,
reckon
bro.
these kids are gonna grow up to be so cool.
Where are they from, do you know?
Just all around the North Island. Yeah.
This is like a whole world that I'm just not...
Oh,
not
100%.
aware of.
It's crazy. Like, the people that you get to talk to are these are people that you'd never, like, otherwise get to talk to. And I don't fully fit in, but, like, I'm close enough that I'm not like out
You're
of
like
place or anything.
you're like the outskirt. Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah,
Nice.
and but there's lots of people. Like I say, it's diverse. You probably wouldn't find like a national voter there, for instance. You know,
diverse.
but like one of the people that we made friends with was like this guy that we met on the second night. I was just like, I'd seen Ruby after a while, and we were just like dancing towards each other, like grooving to the music. And this dude just like wordlessly, as I get there, like shoves a pipe of weed in my face. And I thought he knew Ruby, because that would make sense.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, you must be partner, right?" And I was just like, "Oh, yeah, hell yeah, dude." So I'm like smoking with this guy, having a good time, and then Ruby doesn't know this guy, and he's just like made friends, and he was this beekeeper from Whangarei. 34-year-old beekeeper, had 2 kids. He was the
shit.
fucking nicest guy, and I'm like, where else in society would I get to talk to this man?
Talk to this beekeeper.
Talk to this lovely man named Tom. He was like a Modi dude with dreadlocks. He actually had recently cut his dreadlocks. They were quite long, and he said that at one point they were down to his waist.
Wow, that's.
And he said the experience of having waist-long dreadlocks is that like you get woken up multiple times in your sleep, because whenever you roll over, you essentially just get clotheslined by your own hair. So it just
Really?
like fucking jolts you awake.
That's what.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
As a white man, I would never consider even getting dreadlocks.
Hey man,
The
I've been in Earthby. There's plenty of white men that have considered getting dreadlocks.
That makes sense. That makes sense for that demographic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
a
you
lot
would-
of white people considered it.
So at a high level, you'd recommend.
It's my favorite festival that I've been to. Honestly, it
Okay,
was an amazing time. You know,
Yeah.
not to get too hippie about it, but there was a time I was sitting on the bank looking at this scene just unfold. Like the main stage there was this like, it looked like a retirement home band just got way too into the xylophone and just got really good at it, and there was like 6 like old white people like you'd see at any retirement home just fucking jamming out on the xylophone, like virtuosic xylophone players.
What the fuck?
At one point, like that was one of the acts at main stage, and then
On
there
main.
was like
Okay, that's.
yeah, but then there was also like, you know, like big time artists from. I mean, I say big time, you know, it wasn't Dua Lipa wasn't showing up, but big time in the like
in the reggae.
in the
hippie.
trancey reggae, yeah, in this kind of
Interesting.
scene. The closing ceremony was crazy.
Bro, this is all fucking wild to me. Like, you're someone that's never been to a festival before, and then
No, this is like
This-
this
I
is
don't feel like
not
I
like
could-
the other festivals.
I don't feel like
for
I
sure.
could do this festival. To be honest.
I reckon you could, man.
You right?
I reckon you could. We would get some different clothes on you. Get
Some
you
different
snorting
clothes,
cat and
some
hugging some
different views.
strangers. No, they had comedy there. Like comedians that I really like were there.
Really?
Yeah,
Aussie.
yeah. And they
Aussie,
were
okay.
like, I've never been more interested. Usually I say this is crowd work, but today I'm genuinely asking, what do you guys do for a living? Because I've never played to a room like this in my life. Like, it was like that. It was just
Yeah,
like
that is actually
all
true.
kinds of just like
Interesting.
vaguely sort of like left-wing people from across New Zealand. The other thing, it was like a social contract that was kind of inspiring, which was no one was stealing. You could
No
leave
one
your
would?
shit anywhere. You could leave your shit anywhere with impunity. Where you could be fully certain that no one was going to take it, because that was like, it was almost like a exercise in collective belief in an ideal. Like if everyone
That
is
sounds
on
like
the
very
same
like
vibe.
Burning Man shit, kind of.
I mean,
no?
yeah, maybe, but you know, you could feel there's thousands of people at this thing, and you could feel completely comfortable like leaving your bag and then going and fucking off and coming back 2 hours later, and everything would be right where you left it.
Yeah, that's crazy in like modern society. Like
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
it was
anyway,
kind of
yeah.
like a small bit where people had just decided that this is how it's gonna be. We're gonna live by hippie rules.
Yeah,
And it was
'cause
really cool.
I
Like,
feel like for contrast, at like Rhythm and Vines, people light each
Oh,
other's tents on
yeah.
fire and shit.
People
like-
fucking
yeah,
like-
which is way more. I don't know. I would say
Yeah.
closer to the reality we live in.
for sure, man. Yeah,
It's
you're
like
more worried about people taking a Swiss Army knife and cutting into your tent.
Which is a refreshing. It was a refreshing viewpoint. Fuck.
Yeah, for sure.
Um.
The other thing I wanted to say about Earthbeat is that surprisingly, I reckon, and I've been to most of the big festivals in the North Island, in terms of the people in their 20s there, the most attractive per capita. And I don't even think it's that close either. Because all of these people here, like, you wouldn't go to a place in New Zealand where you'd have a higher mention of breath work per capita. You know, they're all focused on wellness and improving themselves, and most of them are sober, and it really shows. Also, there's not a lot of bras, which I realize. I'm like, maybe that's why I'm perceiving everyone as so hot, because
free the nipple is
Yeah,
much more
for
real
sure.
movement.
But there's something about everyone having that baseline dedication to sort of wellness that people are just super hot at Earthbeat.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, that's my plug. I'll tell you about the closing ceremony if you want, or we can go to something else. I don't know how long I've been talking about this shit.
Yeah. I don't know. Trine, what do you think? Closing ceremony? Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. All right.
Is
Hit us with it.
this interesting to you? Sick. Nice.
Nice. Nice.
Trine approval.
approval. That's
The
important.
closing ceremony was I think nothing that you could ever experience in normal society. It was the main stage. They said at the very end of this festival, it was 5 days long. We were there for 4 of it, and it was the only festival I've ever been to where it didn't feel like a war of attrition that you're waging against your body, where you're not constantly denying your body what it needs and
and you're gonna have
fun.
regret for 4 days.
Yeah,
later.
exactly.
Yeah.
It was the only festival I've ever been to where I'm like, yeah, I could do a 5th day for sure. This place is fucking awesome. This is paradise. Because not only was it the kids' vibe and the whole community vibe, but then at night it was just a very wide selection of good cunts. And everyone had different things that they were bringing to the table, we had this awesome night of just bouncing around from stage to stage, meeting all these great people. And
How many stages are there?
there's 3.
Nice.
And then there's another barn place that is pretty much a 4th stage. So
That's cool, man.
yeah. The closing ceremony was must have been about, me and Ruby estimated it was about 600 people that were at this closing ceremony at 4 o'clock on the Sunday at the end of the final set. They got everyone to hold hands and make a massive circle. And then they got the edge of the circle to start spiraling in, with about 600 people in an enormous field with all the vendor stations and all the different sound stations around it. And this woman was singing, "Spiraling into the center of the wheel. I am the weaver, I am the woven one, I am the dreamer, I am the dream." Over and over again.
Bro,
like
that is
hundreds
wild
of
that you
times
remembered that full
in a row. Just so these 600 or so adults started making this enormous human
How did they know what to
spiral,
do?
holding hands. No, it was crazy how little supervision it was. It was kind of incredibly unhinged at times when you had people behind me holding kids, and then the massive weight of humanity in front of me pulling ahead. My arms were fully taut at its sides.
Wow.
It never got unpleasant though, because it was kind of a really nice version of the medieval torture rack, the thing that pulls you.
That is
I was
one
just
way
getting,
to describe it.
pulled by this massive humanity.
That's
doing
describe
this-
it as massive human. It almost was
Yeah, it was
biblical in a
probably
sense,
500 or 600 people all holding hands. It started in a circle, and then they started, like, the person on the end.
So how were people holding kids? Is it all the kids were part of the
No,
spiral?
so the people were holding kids in their arms, kind of thing, like a few of them. But obviously those people weren't, like, the best at keeping up with the pace of the circle.
Right.
So
Gotcha.
the whole circle spiraled all the way in until it was just like a big spiral.
But I guess how did they organize it at the beginning? Like, how did, like, the start of it happen?
No, literally the least organization. There was no health or safety. There was no nothing. It was just like
That's something else.
all of
right?
these people in this
Wow.
enormous... And, like, if there had been, like, 100 more people, it wouldn't have worked because the circle would have been too big. But they were just like, yeah, fuck it. We'll do it. This is what we want to do.
It's just crazy
You
that
just
everyone
never,
just...
ever-
It's like a hive mind that everyone knew what to do, you know?
No, it's not like we, like, knew what to do. I mean, they told us, like, hold hands, and then you just follow the person in front of you, right? So, like, one person will start spiraling. So they led the first person
okay, I see
in
it.
the entire thing.
So the first person would have been fucking, like, pushed.
No, but the funny thing was the first person, like, it would have been way better if the first person was, like, one of the festival crew that knew what was going to happen, but nah, the first person was just some random person.
Wow.
So, the first person was just led. The first person didn't have a hard job because they were just being led.
Right.
But, like, at different points in the entire circle, there was, like, a lot of, like, strain depending on who was going faster or slower on your arms that you were holding hands with. And the guy that I was holding hands with... He was like my hand. It was like hot as well. It was like in the sun, and I was like sweating. And I was like, should I apologize to this dude for how fucking sweaty and clammy my hands are getting? You know what? Nah, that's not Earthbeat. And then after spiraling everyone in, she started the same song with like spiraling out of the center, and then we spiraled all the way back out, and then ended in this massive like 500, 600 person circle, and heard all of these words from like the organizers and like the some like sort of like spiritual council maybe, and the like the iwi whose land it was. And then like another like it was like almost like a group meditation, and at points for me we were all just sitting there in the hot sun. You know, some people ended up in the hotter sun than others, and I was like in the sun. And at points for me, we were still holding hands, so we ended up holding hands with the person next to us. So Ruby was on one side, this random dude I didn't know on the other side for like an hour. My hands were getting sweaty, and at one point there was like this group meditation at the end when everyone had already spiraled out after these words, and I was in and out of sort of focus, and during this group meditation my thoughts started to wander, and then the guy next to me that I was holding hands with started like almost like shuddering and like wailing out with these like beautiful sounds, like he was having this really intense experience listening to these amazing words, and I was just like, oh fuck, I've just been fucking
Tapped into some shit.
thinking about the NBA and looking at the spider shit. Like, I almost felt guilty
Bro,
that I was like holding this guy's hand while he was having this amazing experience, and I was just like, Taco Bell could go hard right
Oh fuck.
But yeah, that's an experience I'll probably never get to have again. Very unique. If I'd known that the closing ceremony was going to be 2 hours of sitting in the sun, because there was definitely points in it where I was like trying to absorb these amazing words about like the tenderness that we're going to bring home to our people and all of the like lessons from this, and let this community that we've created be a...
Which I guess you are in a sense right now. Like,
yeah,
you
man,
think
I
about
guess
it,
I'm
like,
doing it.
retrospectively, you are kind of bringing it back. That's
Yeah, and I'm just thinking like, fuck, I wish I wore sunscreen. Holding hands with this guy that's convulsing. Yeah, like wailing out. Oh.
Do you think he was on something or no?
No.
Just,
I think
just pure.
no.
Pure
I
life,
think he was
high life.
on the connection to the god, or whatever
Bro,
his god
that
was.
is
Yeah,
honestly insane. I feel like anything at that kind of scale is crazy.
for
right?
sure.
Like,
Yeah. Definitely.
500 people holding hands is no small feat.
Yeah, and that just never happens. When do 500 adults do an entire spiral into the center and then fucking spiral
I think
out?
it says a lot that you remembered the exact words she was
I
singing.
mean, I only heard them 700 times.
Yeah, that's even I vaguely remember the spiraling into the center. Like when I heard that, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, and then he kept going for like 3 more. I was like, "Okay, this goes hard, bro." That is, I'm a little bit mind blown, to be honest. That's not expecting to have that conversation.
Actually, you know who I saw there?
Who?
On the last day, I wasn't wearing my glasses. I'm a little bit blind.
Yeah.
And I saw someone that looked like, you know, Nastia?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out
she
Nastia.
goes by Florence now. Oh, she told me at the festival.
She was at the festival.
Well,
She's at a poker night right now.
Long story
I
short, yeah, I saw someone that looked like her, and then we made eye contact, and then I was like, oh, fuck. And you know that moment where you
You're like,
see
"I know
someone,
you,"
but you don't know who they are, and your whole body just goes tense, and you're like, fuck, I know that person. I was not expecting to see a person I know. I know it. Who is that person? It was from a long way away. And eventually I just had to go up at the end, like, go close enough so I could see. And it was her, and we had, like, a big, long chat. Yeah, she was talking about poker night with you guys.
Yeah, she's literally playing poker right now as we speak. Like, there is a poker night happening right now.
Wow, and you're missing it.
Yeah, for you.
How
of
is she
course.
gonna make money to put food on the table for her kids, bro?
She'd lose money if I was there.
Nah, that's not what she was saying.
Oh,
She
what?
she outlined for all our viewers. If you ever are in a poker tournament with Adam, she outlined
Oh, fuck off.
she outlined the strat to beat you.
Oh, she actually?
Yeah, which is get him past the 10th drink.
I perform better under pressure.
Yeah, she was recounting some winnings that she'd had.
Not against me. I can show you the spreadsheet. I've tracked.
Oh,
I've
damn.
tracked the winnings.
All right, I hope she watches this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll put them up.
Yeah.
they're going there. The graph is going there. For those that are wondering. But to be fair, she's doing very well. She doesn't play that many games, so she's like in terms of the games she plays, she's winning a lot.
Yeah.
Shout out Florence, apparently. Maybe we should again probably segue into something a little lighter. I feel like we've had heavy topic after heavy topic, whether it be intentional or not. We've gone from addiction to spiraling into the center, which is supposed to be at a lighter note, but very much enlightening and not on that.
man.
Not on that. I wanted to talk about something that I find fascinating, and I think that a lot of people will. Is I'm moving into a small location, but Evan has lived in a much smaller space, and that space is a cupboard. We briefly talked about it at the beginning, but I feel like do it some justice here and explain the mindset of moving into your friend's cupboard.
Well, if I could just set the record straight for all 6 of the people who are still watching. I actually, living in the cupboard, before I was trying to explain it, just when I was talking to Adam's family, when he mentioned that he might mention it, and I was like, have you seen Harry Potter? And everyone was like, no. I was like, Harry Potter. I read the book. No. I was like, shit. Well, so if you have, it was basically like the room that Harry was living in Privet Drive, mixed with some Dobby the House Elf shit.
Yeah, but also the fact that you'd have to go through Dudley's room to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
But what it
Not
was
quite
is
the
that
same.
we had 6 people who were going to live in this flat.
Uh-huh.
And I was one of them, and then my friend Ed, who I'd not talked to for a few months, but recently bumped into, was like, hey man, I'm looking for a place. And I was like, yeah, I think it would be funny as to live with you. Let's try to do it. And I was this whole time trying to get Ed in, and then at the last minute, we found this place that I was keen on.
Yeah.
In the sort of ex-student village area.
So you were looking with like a few other people.
I was looking with a few other
Gotcha.
people that we're in a group chat with, and then they were all like, yeah, this guy Ed is cool. Me and him actually met 2 of the other people that were living there who were kind of like the decision makers, and that
Right.
all went great, and we all got along. And then like at the 11th hour, one of the people got someone he knew in, this woman Yaz, in at the last minute.
Right.
In this six bedroom one, which would have left Ed out of a place after me like stringing him along for ages. I was unhappy at the time. I was like, man, fuck this Yasmina person. I love Yaz now. She's like one of my good friends.
Like, one of my
but
friends.
as someone who had never met her and was only the person, my only conception of her was the person that wasn't allowing my boy
to live
in the house with us. And then I'll never forget my friend Isaac, one of the people living with, he was like telling me about this. He was at the initial flat viewing. He was like, there is a seventh room. And I was like, there is a seventh room. And I was like, is it livable? He goes, no, but it is stayable. And I was like, do you reckon someone could live there? And he's like, look, it doesn't have windows. And it is directly, its only door is into another room. And so I felt so bad about just stringing my boy Ed along.
Wow, this is like
that I was like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I will pay $60 a week in rent.
Take one for the team.
And live in the cupboard. Because I think it would be funny to essentially share a room with Ed. Like, I was living in the cupboard, but I was basically, like, sharing a room.
I've had this exact thought before. And it's so funny that the way you've, like, described it is exactly how I would also sit up. This is like, I want to do this thing called bunk beds and mopeds. Which I think would just be hilarious at the same. Can you imagine living in a bunk bed situation right now?
That'd be hell.
Yeah, it would, but it's exactly what you did, essentially.
No, it's not exactly what I did.
It's the same level.
It is not exactly what it is.
On the same level.
Look, the worst thing...
How many times you walking on Ed and Andra?
No, here's the thing. Here's
Andra,
what we did.
those
So
who don't know
obviously, Andra is Ed's girlfriend. My door was directly bordering his room.
Uh-huh.
We had a system where if they were getting down, getting jiggy with it, they would put the Yui boom on, and Ed like exclusively had sex to like hard rap, like just like Maxo Cream and Key Glock and shit like this.
God, okay.
Which is a whole thing in itself, because I just found that so funny, like exclusively.
Doesn't that make it harder to sleep though? You
Right?
hear that shit pop on. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
Fuck. Not only do I know what's going on.
It's like, how do you not to like roaches in my ashtray and roaches in my cereal? But so Ed had this system where he put the Yui boom on. I reckon there was remember this one morning where I would wake up. I was a uni student at the time, so I'd wake up like at like 11.
Come on, bro. That's generous.
Yeah, realistically, I fucking
Wake up at like 2.
I wake up at midday. You know, first lecture had been. We're getting the next one. It was a growth mindset. And the Yui boom was on, and I busting for a piss at the time. This room had no windows, so I just had this one little salt lamp. So I like the transition between my like nicely red glowing salt lamp to like the full on jarring fucking fluorescent light bulb was quite a bit. So I'd woken myself up. I'd gotten ready to go for a pee, and the Yui boom was on. I was like, all right, that's okay. He's getting down with it. I support my boy, you know. Love is love. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So I'm waiting. 15 minutes goes by. All right. I'm pretty keen to pee. 20 minutes goes by. Okay, come on, guys.
Come on, guys.
Half an hour goes by. I'm like, you know what? I know that there is live sex happening right here.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot stress, like, less than 2 meters from where I'm standing. If I just open the door, it's like a full-on porn scene. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not trying to be this guy. I'm going to do it. So I do what I used to do. As is my wont, I knock on the inside of my own door to leave my room.
Yeah.
Some would say that these have some lasting impact that I'm still trying to unpack to this day. Anyway, I knock on the inside of my own door to leave my room. No answer. I'm like, guys, come on. The UE beam's going so loud. I need to piss. I'm like hopping about my room at this point. I knock harder. I'm like, fuck it. I don't know what you guys are up to. I open the door. No one there. Pristine, completely made bed. Deserted. Curtains billowing gently in the breeze. Door to the hallway open. Everything put away.
That is the most depressing story. And that's the reality.
And that was the reality that I lived in.
Well, what I want to know is though, how can you? I don't feel like I could have sex with someone like that close. And the
But
risk
that
of
was the thing
happening
is
so
that
often,
is
you know?
that Ed was like very well suited to it. Like because what I couldn't do about his situation is that he usually go to bed a little bit before me. And so what that meant is that like if I want to take a shower, I'd have to like plan my trips to the shower because going to the shower to my room meant going through his room. So like I would be like trying to be as like economical and frugal as possible with the amount of times I was coming and going. But like if I was in his situation and I knew there was just one of my mates definitely going to be wandering through my room when I was sleeping, that shit would make me feel like unsafe almost. Like it would be fine to do for a bit, but every single day if I knew like as I was sort of falling asleep there was probably going to be someone like shuffling to the
I feel like you're
bathroom.
over internalizing it. I feel like if we were living together, it would be chill. Like
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that I couldn't have done his role and he couldn't have done my role.
right,
You know?
you're both perfect for. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But we weren't though. Like it didn't really work that
You don't think
well.
do you think it can work?
I think it can work with the right two people, but like
'Cause me
you
and Ed-
really have to have like real good, and you also have to be on the same like vibe length, and you have to have real good communication about it.
Me and Ant had a similar situation. Like, so Ant was the second person on the podcast, so you can find him if you need to. But he was living in like the living room, and I was living in like the bedroom. So the only difference between our situations is that the bedroom I was staying in had a toilet. So that like changes a lot. Right?
That does change a lot.
That changes a lot.
That
But
changes
like
a lot.
theoretically, in order to leave, I still had to go through his bedroom, right? And like I think that we could do that situation probably.
Yeah, I think. But you're pretty. Oh yeah, I mean, I learned a lot from that situation.
Yeah.
Like, I was kind of viewing it as like sharing a room at the start because we essentially were, but like there needs to be like very clear like
You need your own space. Shit.
this is where the boundary is. Like, but yeah, I just couldn't have some dude just like walking through my room all the time. And Ed definitely couldn't have lived in the cupboard, you know.
I think it did weigh on Ant for sure. Like
Yeah.
yeah, because
Right?
he was
Because
the one in the open
for
space.
both of us, it's like your space is not really your space. Like for me, like my sanctuary was my sanctuary. But for Ed, like
his was
like
yours.
kind of his
Yeah,
part of
that's
his
so
sanctuary
true.
was my hallway.
That's so true. Yeah.
And then for me, my sanctuary was like when I wake up and need a pee, like my first thought was like, all right,
how am I gonna?
Ed is there, like right out there, like that's my first thing. You don't just get to like
Just
fucking.
I
and
thought you
it's
were going to
made
tell
me-
a very different story, bro. I thought you were going to tell a story about you pissing in a bottle or something like that. Which
It's not that kind of podcast. We'll get to those
Which I was
later.
going to say, I'm pretty sure I saw some yellow bottles in your room. So I feel like.
No, I love Live Plus. I'll say that.
Yeah, it used to be Lift Plus. What happened to that shit? I don't know. Anyways, it's irrelevant. But cool. All right. Anyways, I feel like that is a pretty good point to wrap this shit up.
Lift Plus.
Lift Plus.
It's good for you.
It's good for you. Maybe just reach to Trina. Do we need any more topics, or are we good for the whole thing?
You've definitely got enough time that if you wanted to touch on more topics, you could do comedian or his previous job.
I feel like it would be rude not to.
I reckon.
It'd be rude not to.
honestly.
You don't want to touch on The aspiring comedian doesn't want to talk about it, huh?
Nah, I'm good.
And that's not just a bit from his new stand-up.
He is good.
He is good.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
it.
Let's go ahead and wrap it up then. You know the whole spiel. Like and subscribe. S.AD.ventures on all platforms. So that's YouTube, Spotify as well, Instagram and TikTok, and also huge shout out to our main sponsor, S.AD Collection. www.sadcollection.com. S.AD.collection on all platforms.
If you've watched this whole thing, if anyone has watched this entire thing to now, flick me a line. Let's hang out. 'Cause you're a real one.
I would hope that more people have watched it than to give him a line, but I know realistically there's about 10 people,
Yeah.
and honestly that's group chat. so,
Honestly.
So yeah.
Give me a couch to stay on in
Yeah.
North Carolina.
Do you have anything you want to plug?
Honestly, just E-Scooters and Earthbeat Festival.
Oh,
I've
for
kind
fuck's
of plugged them.
All right,
you know?
all right. If you do, okay. You know what?
Yeah.
If you do decide to have a social media presence, I'll change the description. But up until that point,
Yeah.
thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate everyone. Peace.